From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Friday, June 9th. Average day in terms of temperatures, lots of sunshine, some hazy skies because of that Canadian wildfire smoke. One caveat is that the air quality may worsen for some areas throughout the day because of that smoke. It'll be a little bit more dense in our region. Highs are going to be into the low 80s, but really overall, a really nice day. However, let's talk about that air quality. The entire state is under an air quality action day because of that unhealthy air from the wildfires. Smoke obscured the New York City skyline again yesterday. People with asthma were going to hospitals, flights were delayed, ball games postponed. Even a White House Pride Month celebration in Washington, D.C. was pushed back. The haze reached the nation's capital yesterday. It went as far away as North Carolina. According to the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, the air quality index is above 100 in Indianapolis, which is unhealthy, especially for people with lung disease, older adults, and children. One Ashkenazi health doctor says, while more patients are raising concerns, there's not much that can be done besides fighting it as it comes.
We are worried and anxious about it. Thankfully, it's not as bad as it seems to be on the East Coast, but for some patients, it doesn't take much for them to have trouble and tip them over. And for some, maybe it is the smoke causing their trouble. IDEM
recommends anyone with chronic respiratory illness to limit their time outdoors. Indianapolis police have a person of interest in custody after a shooting at a liquor store. It happened just after 2 this morning at Community Spirits on MLK Street near 29th. Police say they found a man shot in the parking lot. He's said to be stable at the hospital. Investigators think it started as a fight between the man and 1 or 2 other people. Police haven't said how the person of interest is connected. A large fire at a solar energy company on the north side is now under control. It happened at GRNE Solar at about 1:30 this morning. That's on Michigan Road near 71st Street. Fire was shooting through the roof and attic. Pike Township firefighters swept through the building and didn't find anybody inside, but they were pulled out because the roof started to give. No one was injured. Investigators say they don't know yet where or how the fire started. From My Team 8, police say a 17-year-old is now in custody, accused in a road rage shooting that wounded a juvenile. Police arrested the teen early yesterday morning, shortly after the shooting. Police say they also detained an 18-year-old male and a 16-year-old girl, but released them. As we've reported, it all started Wednesday night along East Main Street. Police say groups in 2 vehicles exchanged words before shots were fired into one of the vehicle's open windows. Police say a juvenile in the back seat was hit. He's now out of surgery and in good condition, according to police. The Alabama prisoner who escaped with a jail official and led police on a nationwide manhunt, which ended in Evansville, is sentenced to life in prison. A judge sentenced Casey White yesterday. White told the courtroom he felt like the most hated man in the world, but said he would not drag corrections officer Vicky White's name through the dirt. He said Vicky White was the first person who cared about him in 6 years. Casey White also apologized for the escape, saying they just wanted to start a new life together.
He didn't have the keys. He was in a cage. She had the keys. Some people may say that, she had the keys to his freedom and he had the keys to her heart. Maybe they would. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
As we've reported, Casey White was in prison awaiting a capital murder trial when he escaped last April. The pair was on the run for 11 days until Casey White was recaptured in Evansville. Vicky White shot herself during the confrontation with police. The U.S. Supreme Court is ruling in favor of a Valparaiso man in a case over nursing home patient rights. Justices issued the opinion yesterday morning. The case of the Health and Hospital Corporation of Marion County versus Tlefsky threatened to place major restrictions on the rights of families to take legal action against Medicaid. The family of Georgie Tlefsky sued HHC over the care at Valparaiso Care and Rehabilitation. The family claims Tlefsky has dementia and was chemically restrained and moved to a new facility. Tlefsky's wife sued, but a federal district court threw the case out, saying the law does not allow people to sue Medicaid for damages. The Supreme Court is now upholding the precedent individuals can seek legal action. Tlefsky's daughter says she is surprised, but pleased.
It would have been a catastrophe for the most vulnerable people in our society, those who are disabled, those who are elderly, sick children, poor mothers.
Now the Tlefskys can once again sue HHC if they choose. A professor says the shortage of mental health workers is negatively impacting young people all across Indiana. Hannah Maxey works in family medicine at Indiana University. She says more than half of Hoosiers between 12 and 17 who say they have depression are not being treated. She says there needs to be a strong workforce in place to ward off an impending crisis. Dr. Maxey says that she and her colleagues are working to align mental health care training with the needs of people across the state. And this weekend, the Italian Street Festival kicks off tonight. The Holy Rosary Church will host the fest for the 38th year there in the Fletcher Place neighborhood, downtown Indy area. The Italian Street Festival features over 25 Italian meats, pastas, salads, desserts. There's dancing, live music, and interactive fun inflatables for children and teenagers. 25 food stands in a festive ethnic setting are decorated with strands of lights. There's Italian-made bikes and Vespa scooters, Italian music, all kinds of fun stuff. The Indianapolis Opera will be performing, and Saturday evening there'll be a mass to add to the ambiance. Today, Friday, June 9th, and tomorrow, June 10th, it runs from 5 to 11 at the historic Catholic Church, 520 Stevens Street, and then the surrounding Lacey Park. It is free to attend. There is also free parking in the Eli Lilly and Company lots on East and New Jersey streets. Proceeds from the annual festival support the Church Operation Fund and the community the church serves. The thrilling docuseries 100 Days to Indy is over. The season finale aired last night on Wish TV. It turned the focus to the greatest spectacle in racing, taking viewers behind the scenes of qualifying and the Indy 500 itself. Sports director Anthony Calhoun says the show had a major impact on the build-up to the big race.
I think it was huge. I mean, when you think about what we saw every week right here on Wish TV, you got the reaction from the fans, folks learning more about IndyCar, but just the fans getting a chance to get a really up-close, personal view of the behind the scenes for these IndyCar drivers. I mean, no doubt it was massive for this racing series. But not only that, though, you got to give some credit here for this docuseries, because the fact that week after week after this series debuted 6 weeks ago, the ratings for these races continue to increase and increase. We saw what happened in the Indy 500 just this past week in Detroit. Ratings were high as well. So I think getting a chance to know more about these drivers, going behind the scenes as well, is starting to grab people's attention. Hey, get to the race, get to the race. And so nothing but a bonus here for IndyCar.
Will there be a season 2 of 100 Days to Indy? So far, we do not know. We'll let you know when or if we find out. Okay, Jared's epic blaster battle will soon take over Lucas Oil Stadium. It is the largest toy pistol fight, think Nerf guns, in the world. And for the first time and one night only, it's here in Indianapolis. Today, Friday, is your last day to score $25 tickets. Doors open at 5 at the East Gate tomorrow, Saturday evening. The battle runs from 6 to 10 Saturday night. Now to national news.
I'm an innocent man. I did nothing wrong. And we'll fight this out just like we've been fighting for 7 years.
Former President Donald Trump will appear in a Miami court next week to face federal charges. He is now the first former president in U.S. history to face criminal charges by the federal government he once oversaw. Mishandling classified documents at his Florida estate is what he's accused of. A federal grand jury indicted him on 7 counts, which the Justice Department is set to make public ahead of Trump's court hearing. His attorney confirms the charges stem from the Espionage Act. He says Trump will not hide from the charges.
Yeah, he's going to show up. Look, he knows he's innocent. He knows this is garbage. He knows there's fundamental flaws with each one of the counts that they're apparently putting in this indictment. And he knows that the whole process, starting from the archivist, was a corrupt and politicized one. So he's not shrinking from the fight. He's disappointed that this is where we are as a country and this is where the Department of Justice is. But he's not, you're not going to see him, hide in Scotland. He's going to be ready to handle this case and help his attorneys fight it. And we'll see. It'll make some excitement to see who shows up at the table on Tuesday, I guess.
Trump is set to appear at the federal courthouse in Miami at 3 Tuesday afternoon. He's already facing federal charges in New York and additional investigations in Washington and Atlanta that could also lead to criminal charges. The attention now turns to how this affects Trump's 2024 campaign for president. He can still run while indicted or even convicted. Former Indiana Democratic Party Chair Kip Two spoke about the indictment on last night's Unfiltered. He says he does not expect Trump to be able to work this in his favor.
No, I don't. Okay. I think the drip, drip, drip. I know a lot of people are saying he's going to be a martyr. This is, creates for his followers to do this. But I think it actually is the drip, drip. More and more people let's move on. This is, it's time for America to move on. We don't need Donald Trump drama 24/7, 365.
Trump is the first president to be both acquitted and indicted twice and impeached. And today, the prime suspect in the 2005 disappearance of American teen Natalie Holloway is set to appear in a United States courtroom. An FBI-operated plane flew Jordan Vandersloot to Alabama from Peru. Vandersloot has been serving a prison sentence in Peru after confessing to killing a woman. He's charged in the U.S. with extortion and wire fraud. The only charges linking him to Holloway's disappearance from the Caribbean island of Aruba. Prosecutors said in 2010 that Vandersloot reached out to Holloway's mother seeking $250,000 in exchange for information about the location of Holloway's body. Her family has pleaded with Vandersloot to tell them what happened on the night she disappeared. A judge declared Holloway dead. However, investigators are still looking for her remains. The Supreme Court is ruling in favor of black voters in a congressional redistricting case in Alabama. The High Court handed down the 5-4 ruling yesterday. It affirmed a lower court's decision that found a likely violation of the Voting Rights Act in a state congressional map. The map showed one majority black seat out of 7 districts in a state where more than 25% of constituents are black. Now, the state will have to draw a new map for next year's elections. Attorney General Merrick Garland applauded the ruling, saying it rejects efforts to erode fundamental voting rights protections. And to business headlines, more people are turning to mobile apps to understand when air quality is improving or worsening, wherever they may be. The AirNow mobile app ranked as the 6th most downloaded free app on the App Store for iPhone, outranking TikTok, WhatsApp, and Instagram. Other mobile apps that are being downloaded include iCare's AirVisual and AirCare. A panel of FDA advisors today will discuss Biogen and ICE's application for full approval of its Alzheimer's drug. The application for full approval is based on data showing that Leqembi slowed the rate of cognitive decline in patients with early Alzheimer's by 27% compared to a placebo. Bud Light sales plunged in May and is no longer the nation's best-selling brew. Circana reports Modelo Especial ranked number 1 in May with $333 million in sales, a 15% increase from 2022. The sales drop for Bud Light follows a promotion debacle with a transgender rights activist. AMC Theater's Summer Movie Camp program is now underway. It runs twice a week through the end of August. Each film will play on Saturdays for $5 and Wednesdays for $3. AMC will show 13 family films at participating theaters all across the country, featuring newer films like Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, and classics like Kung Fu Panda. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and like us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.